Manx Radio Sport.
A very good evening and welcome to Friday Sport Preview on Manx Radio. I'm Rob Pritchard with you until 6:30pm. As ever, I hope you've had a wonderful week so far. So, coming up tonight, Peel will be looking to maintain their vice-like grip at the top of the Canada Life Men's Premier League as part of another busy round of fixtures in Manx football tomorrow. In rugby, all three island sides involved in UK competition will host their respective opponents on home soil tomorrow. We find out how they might fare as their campaigns reach their final stages. And after a 2-week break, hockey returns to the schedule this weekend with the senior and under-15s leagues all in action. That is all to come this evening. So let's start by taking a look at the latest footballing fixtures coming up on the Isle of Man this weekend. Alongside the league fixtures, there is a solitary cup tie as well, as the ECAP FA Cup looks to catch up on one of its rescheduled fixtures. So we'll now take a look in more depth, as ever, with Tony Mepham at the fixtures. Tony, good evening.
Good evening, Rob. And weather's good. We've just had a chat about that, haven't we? So we're all clear. And
that's what we like to hear.
As you rightly say, we've got an outstanding ECAP FA Cup game to get out of the way, and then back into the next round, the quarterfinals next Saturday. So yeah, it's all go at the moment, and that's what we want.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look through the fixtures on Saturday. We'll start with that ECAP FA Cup first round fixture, 2:00 kick-off this one, so slightly earlier than the league fixtures, and it is the Premier League side Corinthians, and they're going to be home to promotion-chasing Division 2 side Braddon.
And this is the one that clubs want to see because Braddon are in the top 4 position of that DPS Limited Division 2 fixtures, and the league is looking really good in there, and they'll be looking to just see how good they are, and they've got some great young players in there, and also some mid-aged, I would say. When I say mid-aged, because they're so young, 16, 17, there's 23, 24-year-olds in there who are sort of worthy of selection and playing really well. So I think manager Will Smith will be working out tonight how to sort of bring down Corinthians. I'm sure they want to do that because it gives them bragging rights, but had a bit of banter with one or two of them over the week, just saying that we're going to take the position, which is fine. That's no problem. Confidence is good. So I think Braddon will be certainly looking to see if they can get this result away from Corinthians. But Ben Qualtrough, I think, at the moment is quite happy. I know that Luke Murray's in the team tomorrow, so that's a massive plus for them. And sort of one or two players who have sort of just coming back from injury and club level will be back in there to help them as well. So, yeah, looking strong for Corinthians, but Braddon will be looking all confident to try and do the job.
Could be a good one, that one. Well, alongside the ECAP FA Cup first round tie there are league fixtures at 2:30pm. Starting off in the Canada Life Men's Premier League, 5 games down. We'll start off with Onken, and they're going to be hosting second place Union Mills.
Yeah, I think Onken are doing all right at the moment. I watched them recently against Ramsey, and right good battling performance for them, and picked up a straight point last week, which is good, and try and keep the club in the league because, Onken know that in the next couple of years as their players develop, because they've got some really good players. And I watched the playoff Union Mills against Onken on Wednesday in the under-18s league, and it was a great game to watch, seeing those talented players coming through. Tom Creer, FC Isle of Man, could play in the under-18s. It's quite spooky thinking about him playing in under-18s, isn't it? Young player of his ability. But I don't think they've got him tomorrow, so Union Mills will be looking to continue in this great form that they've had over the last few games, and Paul Guyver will be chuffed to bits defensively. They've looked good. Noticed Owen Quayle got in team of the week, so I think Union Mills will start off as slight favourites, but Onken at the moment playing well.
Very well. We talk about Union Mills up toward the top of the table. There is a key battle this weekend at the bottom of the table where it's very congested over at the Memorial Playing Fields. Marown, they're going to be hosting Douglas Royal.
Well, it is, and we say each week that Douglas Royals, sort of one or two players have come back. Lewis Robertson, watched him on Wednesday, really good player. And, I think Michael Fitzmaurice knows that, he just could do with taking some points away against the teams that are down with them battling away. But as we've seen them around this season, last season, seasons before, that when they do come up against a quality team or they need something, they can get it. And David Brew will be looking to see if they can get a win. And I think Moran have got a good chance. But Douglas Royal are scoring goals. So defensively, if they can keep it solid, Rob, then they can sort of stop that result going to Moran. But with home advantage, might just go to Moran this one.
Very well, and then we look at another side also battling at the bottom of the table. Douglas High School Old Boys, they'll have a tough job on their hands trying to get some points this weekend because they'll be hosting St John's United.
Yeah, and St John's had a great performance last week, and one or two sort of players are coming back from injury as well. I think Sam Ingham might be in the squad tomorrow, so Old Boys have got to try and deal with that. But Old Boys still chipping away. I know one or two players are saying, well, it's not looking too good for us at the moment. But it's the older players that are sort of keeping them in there. And if they can sort of try and, just keep it going as they are. Set pieces, they're dangerous. Robbie Ward, if you give a free kick away, edge of the box, there's a good chance there's going to be a goal. But I just think St John's at the moment, the way they're playing, Sam Brown's team have got enough.
Very well, and then the next fixture here is a bit of a mid-table clash if you just look at it based on the numbers, but knowing what these two sides are capable of, could be a very tasty game this if it turns out that way for those involved. Down at Glen Road, Laxey are going to be hosting Russian United. Yeah,
and I think Laxey last week, they lost 3-1, but the one or two real key players, I think Brodie Patience was missing, Tom Smith was missing, I think he might be missing again this week, which doesn't sort of help them, but when you look at Ethan Hall, he's been superb since he's turned 16 and come in, scoring plenty of goals, tricky player, and playing against a team, if you like, where his dad made his name, Damien. So he'll be looking to see if he can turn them over, just to let his dad know that he's playing for the better team. But I think Russian at the moment have got the bit between the teeth. They're doing really well. Nick Robinson's got them playing well with a lot of confidence. Stevie Riding's been playing well. So we'll just wait and see. But I think it's going to be Russian who'll take the points.
And rounding off the Canada Life Men's Premier League this weekend is down on Glen Crutchery Road. This could be an intriguing one. So Peel, with that current 11-point advantage at the top of the table, they travel to face St George's, who have 5 wins in their last 6. So could this go one of two ways? Is this a bit more open than some people might think?
Well, from what I'm hearing, I think St George's might be down on quality tomorrow. Johnny Myers is usually pretty good to put a squad towards me, but he hasn't done that at the moment. I think that's purely because one or two have pulled out today on him. So we'll see what the squad's going to be like tomorrow. This is the game that you've put me on to cover. But, Peel have been doing well. Still no Rhys Oates. I think he's a little bit away from playing yet. But certainly right the way through the team. They're buzzing. They know that Corinthians dropped points last week. So they're in the driving seat now to take this Canada Life Premier League. And at the moment, they're playing really well. And I think Peel will take the points away from Geordies.
Very well, that's the Canada Life Men's Premier League tomorrow. Let's very quickly take a look through the other divisions. DPS Limited Division 2, the leaders St Mary's don't have a game this weekend, and the likes of Michael United and Castletown have fixtures tomorrow as part of the 4 fixtures there to maybe try and eat up some ground on the team at the top.
Well, they can do if they want, and certainly with Michael, disappointed with that cup game against Castletown. They conceded quite a few goals, and Michael Corlett will be back to the drawing board, just see what they could do better. But Colby, I think Carl Hickey might be fit, he'll come in, Jordan Edge as well. So those two alone score plenty of goals, so Michael are going to find it difficult. Foxdale against Jims, you got to look at Foxdale to win that, even though Jims had that good result against Ramsey Youth Centre. Castletown against Douglas Athletic. Douglas Athletic conceding a lot of goals, Castletown scoring plenty of goals. Edson De Silva back in form last week, so he'll be a big plus for Castletown. And Governors Athletic against Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys. I'll put that down as a blip last week for Youthy, but Governors, I noticed their age band, Rob, is coming down a little bit. I was told that their striking partnership of 3 last week was 57 years of age average, which is pretty good to be fair, but I just think Ramsey Youth Centre will be too strong. Sorry, Carl.
Very well. Okay, very quickly, we've got 4 games in Canada Life Combination 1 tomorrow. Yeah,
Union Mills against Onken. I'll go for Onken just to sneak the points there. Douglas Royal against Moran. Go for Moran. Russian against Laxey. Russian just flying, aren't they? Unbeaten all season, and get that trophy ready, I think. So I'll go for Russian to win that. And Ayr against Corinthians. I know Corinthians have got 1 or 2 key players back in for the combination tomorrow, so I'll go for Corinthians just to take that victory.
And rounding off Saturday, we have 4 games as well in DPS Limited Combination 2.
We certainly do. And Douglas and District against Braddon. I'll go for Braddon to take victory in that one. Then we've got Jims against Foxdale. Jims rooted at the bottom of the table, so I'll go for Foxdale to win. Michael against Colby. I'll go for Michael. And Pulrose against St Mary's. You have to go for St Mary's to win.
Very well, those are your fixtures for Saturday. Looking then to Sunday, and we have 3 games in the Canada Life Women's Football, all kicking off at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, it is, and they're back on grass. The Floodlit Cup's all done, and now they're playing on the old green stuff. And Castletown against Douglas Royal. Castletown, still struggling for a team most weeks. I think it was 7 or 8 players they had last week, but they're still chipping away, and they've just got to build on 1 or 2 players joining them, but go for Royal to win. Peel against Malou. Peel have just got to keep winning all the games and try and beat Corinthians as well to take the trophy away from them, but you go for Peel to beat Malou. And Corinthians against Onken, always a good battle between these two, but Corinthians solid performances at the moment, plenty of goals last week, and I think this week they'll beat Onken.
And just very quickly before we move on to the Masters football, seeing news this week that Michael United are looking into the prospect of setting up a women's team. That could be a positive for the women's football system on the island.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think it's always important, Rob, that if you have someone driving it who's sort of got an inside of women's football, and Michael Corlett's had that before. He's been involved with the Ireland squad. He's a great manager, great coach, and it'd be great to see if your team has had a women's team before. It sort of helps a little bit because you gain experience of what it's got to do. And the Just Play session that everyone sort of organised recently, there was 60-70 players out down there and nearly 20 new players to come down. So if we can get that involved, then it puts women's football in a better place. But I think all round, certainly it's nice to see new players coming in.
We'll wait and see how it develops. And last but certainly not least, on Sunday we have 2 games in the Masters football.
Yeah, Douglas and District against Corinthians. Corinthians, I think, will just win this one. Just, I say that, because they had good battle recently against Colby, and also they had one against Ayr United. And Douglas Royal against Ayr, that will be a battle. I watched Ayr recently, and they're a really good side, super fit. And I just think it'll be down to what players are available for both teams for this game. But I've got to go for Ayr just to take the points.
Well, Tony, thank you very much, and I'll be catching up with you tomorrow, not just to cover the Manx football, but also the other game taking place on the Isle of Man tomorrow evening in the NWCFL Premier Division. FC Isle of Man will be hoping to make it 3 wins from 4 when they welcome Winsford United to the Bowl 6 p.m. tomorrow night in a key fixture in that league. And if you're not heading down to the Bowl, we at Manx Radio will have you covered, myself and Tony, providing full live match commentary from 6 o'clock tomorrow on Manx Radio AM 1368 and digital. We'd love to have you along. OK, we'll now turn our attention to rugby, and another weekend of important fixtures awaits those Ireland sides competing in UK competition. All those sides are on home soil this weekend. A confident Douglas are back at Portashee, hunting more success tomorrow. In contrast, a daunting task awaits Vagabonds men's in the Counties 3 ADM Lancs Cheshire League. Meanwhile, Vagabonds ladies are also on home turf for another potentially exciting clash in their division. And taking a look at those, as well as the one domestic game penned in tomorrow, is Dave Christian.
Yeah, top of the shop, Rob, as usual, is down at Portashee. Douglas, they're playing at the highest level of the Isle of Man sides in the English Club Championships. And they have an eminently winnable game. It's Winnington Park, kick-off at Portashee, 2 o'clock tomorrow. And, well, Douglas won away, 28-27 at Winnington Park, which is a lovely little ground as well. Douglas, they're in a relatively strong position. They're near the foot of the table in Regional 2 Northwest. But they've got a 9-point buffer on the 2 sides below them. That's Wilmslow and Broughton Park. Wilmslow and Broughton Park have got games in hand. Douglas have just got 2 left. But those games in hand aren't by any stretch easy. And if Douglas can turn that 9 points into 14 or 13 even tomorrow, it'll be a massive boost for them, and I think it'll probably make them secure. Douglas's form has been pretty good since Christmas, at least. They've won where they thought they were going to win. They picked up that big one against Broughton Park a couple of weeks ago. The players are coming back from injury, so Brad Bomar's back in, Harry Hewson's back in, the forwards are firing. Phil Kringle, player coach, he's been started himself. That seems to have made a difference in the last couple of outings. Things are going well for them, and a big home crowd down at Portashee as they celebrate their 150th anniversary. I suspect we're going to see a Douglas win, but don't put too much on that. Winnington Park will be conscious of their relative position. They're just above Douglas in the table, and they'll be looking for a bit of security as well. So I don't think they're going to be coming here half-cocked. I think it's going to be a tough game for Douglas. Vagabonds, however, are in a totally different ball game. They're bottom of the table. They've got 7 points to make up. They've just got 2 games left. I don't think there's any games in hand either. So they're in a position where they're going to have to start picking up some points pretty quickly. And I don't really see them getting any tomorrow afternoon. The visitors to Ballafletcher are league leaders Hoylake. Hoylake have lost once this season, only once. They've had 1 defeat and 1 draw, otherwise they've won everything in front of them. They beat Ramsey and Southern Nomads in the Cheshire Bowl competition as well. With the form that they're showing, I don't think Vagabonds are going to have enough to get past them. Vaggers need to pick off Bury next week, who are the visitors to Bella Fletcher in the final game, and if results go their way elsewhere this week, they might have a chance of not finishing bottom. Form-wise, they're not bad. I've seen them a couple of times now, and I think their performances don't reflect their league position. Dan Bonwick's there now in the 10 jersey. He's given them a lot of positive stuff going forward. Cal Donnell's been great in the centres. Joe Lowe doing his usual business-like stuff in the front row of the scrummage and a lot of ball carrying off it. Mark Oldfield's been excellent in the back row. The players are there for them, and I think it's just a matter of time before things click for Vagabonds. Maybe we'll see them have a good run in the Manx Cup, but tomorrow against Hoylake, I don't think so. Vaggers Ladies, which is a game we're going to be featuring on Saturday Live. That's a 1:15 kick-off for the ladies. They're playing Halifax. They've got 3 matches left, and 2 of them against Halifax, home and away. They were missing a load of goals last week when they went to Chester Divas and lost by 3 points. Those girls are back this week, although making up a strong bench. Natalie Bush is on the bench, Corinna Daly on the bench, and Becky Dunn on the bench as well. They're all players I'd expect to start, so a very strong bench for Vagabonds. They're going with the girls primarily who went away to Chester last week. You can't blame them for that. Bit of faith in your players. We'll see what sort of a game develops. They've got a fairly good record against Halifax. I think they've played them twice, won one, lost one. There is no current form this season to judge it on, so it's pretty hard to tell which way it'll go. But I think with home advantage up there, should be a Vagabonds win. And finally, in the Ravenscroft Manx Trophy, we've got one of the cluster games. It's a bit of a reshuffle around. There was supposed to be 2. They've distilled those into 1. It will be at Ramsey, kicking off at 2:15. And that will be Ramsey's Reds against Western Vikings and Eastern Barbarians.
Manx Radio Sport.
Dave Christian with that report there. Rounding things off tonight, after a 2-week break over the half-term period, the senior and under-15s Manx hockey leagues resume in earnest this weekend. Some pivotal ties down for this one as the season goes on, with a couple of important clashes coming in both the ladies and men's Premier Leagues. With a look at what's in store on hockey's return this weekend, I caught up this week with Ben Cunningham. We'll start with the fixtures in the Ladies Premier League this weekend. 2 of those, both pushing back at 12:35. Starting over at QE2 in Peel, and it's Valkyries A, and they'll host Castletown B.
I've got both games in this league as games of the day, really. Valkyries A against Castletown B. Last time these two met, we covered this game live on Saturday Live. And Valkyries went 2-0 up, but then Castletown B came back and got it to 2-2. The big question is, can one team get the win this time, or is it going to be another stalemate? But both teams need the win out of this game because they're both fighting for not being relegated.
And you say the other game in this division is a potential game of the day. That's over at King William's College at the same time, 12:35. Vikings A against Castletown A.
And last time, Castletown A did beat Vikings A 4-0, so it'd be interesting to see if Castletown can do it again. Castletown top of the league at the minute, 1 point ahead of Vikings A, so this game has a lot riding on it. I think Castletown might do it again. I'm going to be very brave here and say I'm going to go for a Castletown A win.
Then we move into the men's Premier League. 3 games this weekend, all pushing back at 2:05pm, starting over at King William's College as well, and that is Vikings A against Castletown A.
Yeah, this one's a big game as well, because last time these two met, Castletown pulled off a win over Vikings A. Vikings A really have started to pick up their momentum in the last few games, but Castletown have been looking really strong this season. Again, I'm going to say a Castletown A win.
Very well, and then over at QE2 at the same time, it's Valkyries A, and they'll play Backers B.
Yeah, this is going to be a close game. This is like a mid/bottom of the league clash. This Valkyries A ahead of Backers B. Backers B really need the points, but I think Valkyries A will just be too strong on the day for them.
And then at the National Sports Centre, also at 2:05, the defending champions and current leaders Backers A, they'll be providing a stern test for a visiting Ramsey A.
Yeah, this one's going to be a really good game, I reckon. Backers A pulled off a fantastic win last time when these two met in the league. I think Ramsey are going to just have a bit of a challenge on the day, and this is the game I'll be covering Saturday Live, so I think Backers A are just going to be too strong for Ramsey A.
Let's have a quick look through the other divisions then. We'll start with Ladies Division 1. There are 3 games there this weekend.
Yeah, the first game in this division is at 12:35 at the NSC, and this sees Vikings B against Valkyries B. Middle of the league clash again, so this one's got a lot riding on it. I think Falkirk B, though, will get it. The second game in this league sees Backers B against Ramsey A. I think Ramsey A will just be too strong for Backers B there, and that's at 2:05 at Ramsey Grammar School. And then at 3:35 at the NSC is league leaders Harlequins A against bottom of the league, Backers C. I think Harlequins A are going to be too strong for Backers C.
Move on to men's Division 1. There are 2 games there this Saturday.
Yeah, and the first game in this one is a derby between Harlequins A and Harlequins B. You'd have to go for the A team to win there. This is the second time these two have met in the week, as they met midweek in the plate. So Harlequins A will definitely be going for the win for that one. And that's at 11:05 at the NSC. And then the second game is Vikings B against Falkirk B, and this is at 3:35 at KWC. Falkirk B did beat Vikings B last time, and they are looking really strong in this league so far, so I'm going to go for a Falkirk B win there.
Okay, then we move into Ladies Division 2.
Yeah, so the first game at 2:05 at Castle Rushen High School is Falkirk C against Castletown D. Castletown D are the league leaders at the minute, ahead of Castletown C by just 1 point. So I think I'm going to go for a Castletown D win there. And then the final game is Viking C against Castletown C, 3:35 at Castle Rushen High School. This one will be a close game, battle of the C teams, but I think Castletown C will be too strong for Viking C on the day.
And finally on Saturday, men's Division 2.
Castletown B against Backers Colt, and that's at 12:35 at Castle Rushen High School. I'm going to go for Castletown B win there. Castletown B are flying at the minute, scoring plenty of goals.
And last but certainly not least, we've got 3 games in the mixed under-15s league.
And the first game in this league sees Vikings against Harlequins at 11:05 at QE2. Second game is Backers against Castletown Sharks, 11:05 at Castle Rushen High School. And then the final game at 3:35 at QE2 is Falkirk against Castletown Sabres.
Manx Radio Sport.
That's all we have time for on Friday Sport Preview this evening. Many thanks to my guests this week, Tony Mepham, Dave, Christian and Ben Cunningham. Have yourself a wonderful Friday evening and a wonderful weekend as always. Chris Kinley's here with you next. So from me, until next time, it's bye for now.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.